CBC News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
We shall do that. It is Coffee Ann here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday morning. It's December 29th, and it's 8 in the morning. Thanks for joining us for the Coffee Ann program. My name is Joe Callahan. With me is Bob Lauder, Attorney Bob Lauder. Hi there, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to have you with us. Dave Richards is here as well. Good morning to you, Dave.
Emily is missing this morning.
Emily is not here. She gave us a call, says, nope, she ran into some family members, and they're not, they came
They're
down
not
with...
feeling too good. Have you noticed how sick everybody's been getting recently?
Yeah, someone said it looks like they might have COVID, so she's
So
playing it safe.
We went to the store to get some cough medicine.
And did you find any?
Oh, my goodness. Barely.
Wiped clean, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shelves just bare with, cold and flu medicines all gone. So that's kind of an interesting thing there.
The real question is going to be, who's going to sing Scott McGee's phone number?
We decided on you, Bob. So,
That
surprise.
should pretty much destroy his business.
This portion of the Coffee Ann program is being sponsored by the Call newspaper.
I
The
have a
Woonsocket
plan
Call
B.
newspaper and WoonsocketCall.com publish a daily community calendar in print and online. This is a list of event happenings throughout the Blackstone Valley over the next several weeks. With over 50,000 local readers in print and online, you're sure to reach a wide audience for your upcoming event. To submit an event, all you have to do is email your event details to notices@woonsocketcall.com. That's notices@woonsocketcall.com. Or phone them at 767-8550. The Call and woonsocketcall.com. It is Coffee Ann here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. And this is Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Bob Lauder. And should we start Bob off with a nice legal question, Dave?
No, let's ask him a sports question, Joe.
Oh, great. I am ready for a good sports question.
Did you use the sports information I gave you at Christmas time?
I wrote it all down.
Yes.
But nobody brought up the issue of
No one
sports.
brought it up.
So I didn't venture into that quagmire on my own. I figured
okay.
these were reserves that I would hold, sort of like arrows in the quiver, but you don't go out and start shooting them until the other side has got you in the
Until you
sights.
see the whites of their eyes, Joe. You've heard
All
of
right.
this before, right?
I have. All right. So, Bob,
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this one.
Probably not.
Because you don't know if it probably doesn't come up it probably doesn't come up a lot. And I don't know if it varies from state to state, and it probably does. But the question is,
Anything Bob doesn't know
he can find
could
out.
fit in the thimble, for one thing. But it all has to do with varying from state to state.
Right.
The check's in the mail,
Do-
believe me.
Employers, do they have the right? Maybe the right is not the right word. Do they have is it
Legal authority.
Legal authority is a good way of putting it. To require that their employees purchase from them their work uniform.
It's a loaded question, Bob.
It sure is a loaded question.
Yeah.
The whole thing
Remember when
is
you said,
I
probably
don't know the answer. Well, it probably doesn't come up
you
very
hit it.
often.
I would have to look it up.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
the answer I gave him was that employers can require you to wear a uniform on the job,
That's correct.
and employers can not pay for your uniform. Obviously, the better employers would offer to do that, and if they don't, well, then there may be a reason for that. But the fact is, what Joe's major point was that the only place to get the uniform was to purchase it from the employer who was mandating it and could set any price they wanted.
Now, I trust this is not a dispute between the two of you. The radio station is not requiring that you buy a particular uniform from now on.
I can't get him to wear a tie.
No comment. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, it's got nothing to do with here.
Oh, okay. I was waiting to see what the uniform was looking like. But
Because I do remember back when I first jumped into the workforce, I had to work for Burger King.
Yeah.
And when I was hired, they said, okay, we give you the shirt.
Right.
And they had paper hats back then.
Right.
They said, however, you need to go and buy brown Dickies.
Right.
All
That's,
right.
Go wherever
that's
you want.
the bottom half of the uniform.
That's right. Go wherever we want and buy them, but purchase it, and that was part of the uniform. And shoes, no sneakers.
okay.
Right.
And so, but you could wear any kind of shoes you wanted. That was up to you. But the pants had to be brown Dickies. Mm-hmm. You had to go out and buy them. I was not reimbursed for that, and I never even thought to get reimbursed for that.
Right.
But I just wonder if but if the employer is saying, "Here's the uniform we require you to wear. Now pay us for it."
I'll look it up for you.
Okay. See how it goes from state to state. I'm really looking for Rhode Island and Mass on this kind of thing. All right. So
He might have a job for you.
well, maybe not.
Can I design the uniform?
No. Anyway,
for it.
we did have a note that was called in. Back to the sports program. Persistent boy, I just don't know what's going on here with the Boston Red Sox, except that management and dollars have taken over. So what the heck is Henry trying to do? Henry's the owner of the Boston Red Sox.
Make more money.
A mighty and years of tradition in baseball is going down. The Sox tradition must rule. He's ruining the legacy of the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
He's not rebuilding.
So offer
So
him $600 million.
What's the real story?
Well, they're just it's funny. The rats are jumping the ship. Is what it looks like. There's been plenty of players for the Boston Red Sox who have become free agents, and now they're just going to other teams. So it just makes you question.
They don't see the future with the Red Sox.
They don't
did
see the
once.
future. They see the sinkers. The ship is sinking.
Right.
And it's time to jump to another ship.
Now, are the ones who are leaving good players that are
Yes.
causing it? Okay.
Yeah. So, but
do
we
you
did. But then we just signed a good pitcher yesterday. So
How do you get a free agent status? How does that arise?
it deals with having so
contract
many
is
years.
up.
But you gotta spend so many years as a Major League Baseball player.
Right.
And I think it's 5, but I'm not positive on that. And so, and when your contract ends with a certain team, and if you've been there for 5 years, we're going to use that as an example, you're now a free agent, is what it's called.
Okay.
You can
You
sign
have no
with the
contractual
team.
ties to sign
Yeah,
again.
you can sign with the team that you're still with, but you're also free to accept offers from all the other teams if they offer you anything.
From like General Mills to be on Wheaties boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how that works. And if Bob, if you own the team and you offer me $5 million to play for 1 year, and Dave's offering me $3 million for 1 year, and and I've been with Dave for a while, and Dave doesn't or can't up his price, most jump for where the money is.
Okay.
I'll take my talents and go over there. And that's just it's a business, and that's just the way they look
And
at it.
are the Red Sox having financial problems that they're not
no.
making these offers? Or
No.
I wouldn't put it that way.
They have plenty of money, and they have all their.
I wouldn't put it that way.
Yeah, they've got.
Did anybody watch a baseball game on Nesson
They own
last year?
Nesson. They own the Red Sox. They own a soccer club in England.
But
they own tons of
did
stuff.
you see the ads that weren't on the baseball games last year on Nesson?
Well, I wasn't paying attention to that.
I
part.
wasn't paying attention to much of what was going on with the Red Sox, but when I remember, I'm a broadcaster, and I look to see what the ads are, who the ads are, what tier ads are on, and it gives you an idea what kind of money they're raking in. And I'll tell you that they were playing in promos, 2 consecutive breaks.
back to back. Yeah,
Right.
So it was just all promos?
Just playing promos during the commercial break between half innings. And I said to myself, well, you can do that for just so long. Now, what's the deal there, Mr. Henry? Do you need something to lose money so you can declare it on your income tax and save a couple of coins here or there? I don't know.
do you
he
think
hasn't.
Sometimes it's a game that way, Joe, you know?
Yeah. Yes, Bob.
do you think the Red Sox are deliberately not making the higher offers because they're trying to replace these individuals and bring in new blood that may invigorate the team?
It's always tough to tell what they're thinking when you're not in on the inner circle there. But yeah, that's if they came out and said today, oh, we're trying to rebuild, and we're going to start with the younger kids and bring them up. So yeah, it's going to be
Right.
another 2, 3, 4 years before we're back to being decent. So please stick with us as we rebuild.
The way I viewed it, Joe, from the
Yeah.
beginning was, first of all, it was easy to forecast this happening if you look at what's happening elsewhere. The Yankees got to the point where the Yankees had to clean house and start over. They had to hit the reset button. It was Noah and the Ark time for the New York Yankees. And so I'm looking at it, after Big Papi was done, what would they do next? Well, several ideas didn't pan out. So I'm figuring that Mr. Henry has just decided, push the reset button. Let's rot for 3 or 4 years, and in 5 years we'll have something valuable again.
Yeah, and
That's the way I see
he's
it.
saying, the fans will still come.
But you always deny it when you're doing it.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
but the
right.
fans will still show up at Fenway Park. It may not be a sellout every single time.
Right.
But it'll be half to 3/4 full for the majority of the time. And they're still going to buy beer, and they're still going to buy the hot dogs, and they're still going to buy the programs, and we're still going to make money.
How many of the members of the team have they lost so far?
Oh, at
Half a
least
dozen?
Yeah, at least 6.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They've just
Real names that you would have known.
going away. And it was just a couple of years ago that
And a couple that didn't leave are ones that you kind of wish had.
it was just a few years ago where we have a core of players, of young players to really build on, and they all left. One, two,
Right.
they just they jumped where the money was, and so what are you going to do?
Well, it would sound like it's a management strategy that they're figuring, as you said, to bring in new players. Because if you have good players and you have the money available to preserve their membership on your team, and you allow them to go to a higher offer when you could have met the higher offer, yeah, it sounds like you have a strategy there.
But in some places, I agree with what they did. Xander Bogaerts left, went to San Diego. San Diego, he's 31, or is he 30? Anyways, he's 30. Let's go with 30. And San Diego offered him an 11-year deal at an exorbitant amount of money, $300 million or so. And now, if I was the Boston Red Sox, I would not have matched that deal.
No.
To pay this guy to play baseball till he's 41, the odds of his ability
Remaining.
at 41 are certainly not going to be what they are at 30. It's
Right.
natural. It's just going to slow down. So I wouldn't have matched that either. So I don't know what San Diego's thinking. Maybe they'll get a few. They're going to get some really good years out of him up to he's about 35, and then that's just the way it is in baseball. Your bat speed gets slower, your knees start to go, and you don't have he plays the shortstop. He doesn't have the range anymore to get to the ground balls. He's just going to slow down.
Okay.
Tom Brady's just he's a machine. That's different. And but there's only one of him. So and not everybody's
And he
like
only
him.
plays 20 games a year and not 168,
62. Yeah.
62 games a
Yeah,
year.
and with 1 day off a month, kind of thing. So,
Right.
So that's just it's a weird business that game. So okay. But speaking of the Red Sox, how about 10 men have been sentenced to prison for that assassination attempt on David Ortiz?
Yeah.
10.
What assassination attempt?
This happened a few years ago. It happened down in the Dominican Republic. He was out at a
Oh,
bar
yes,
and
I
he was
remember
shot.
that.
You have
Yes,
to you have to
yes.
correct on that, by
Yeah.
the way, Joe. It wasn't an assassination attempt. People keep calling it that, but it wasn't.
What do you call it?
And well, investigators have figured out they know what happened, and they were able to convict 10 people
Yeah.
for their part in what happened, and they believe that it was a case of mistaken identity.
Yes, I did hear that. They were going
You
after his
cannot
cousin.
assassinate someone you don't know.
Okay, but they shot him anyway.
Well, I mean, I suppose you could, but I mean,
he was in real danger
it's
there.
not an assassination attempt if you didn't know who it was you were shooting
going
at.
after. He was in real trouble there for a while, and they quickly flew him out of the Dominican and got him up to Boston.
Yeah.
Which saved his life.
Right.
when
This
he
was
got
an
to the doctors up
organized
here.
crime sort of thing
Yeah.
down in Santo Domingo. And so there was a whole list of people. They were not able to convict the ringleader because other people fell on the sword and there wasn't enough evidence to get the big guy who planned it.
Now, the gunman, the one that did the actual shooting, and the driver of the getaway car, they both got hit with 30 years in prison for this shooting. And the other 8 just were all part of the organization.
Yeah.
You find out where he is. You find out what he's driving. You find out what he wears. I don't know, things like that. So, yeah, they...
What was the other penalties besides the 30 years?
anywhere between 5 and 10 years for the others.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
but do you want to hang out in the
San Domingo jail? No.
Dominican Republic jail? Neither do I. So that's what happened. So,
No air conditioning, Bob.
No.
Uh-huh.
He was shot in the back. He was just sitting out at a night spot in Santo Domingo, and
What did
they
his
came in and got him.
cousin do in the Dominican Republic that would have made him a target for that kind of a
In the wrong
killing?
place, wrong time.
No,
but I
That's
mean,
what authorities came up with.
Well, you deal with the drug cartels down there, and maybe
Was his cousin
Turn against
involved
him.
in
I
some
don't know.
type of? They don't.
they
Okay.
don't tell you that part.
All right.
The big story is Ortiz was shot. Ortiz almost died. Here are the men that have been convicted of his shooting, and here's the prison sentence that they got.
Good.
All right, so we're gonna take a break now in the Coffee and program. In this
So you
portion,
managed to get both law and sports in there for
how
you.
about that? Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
We're working
Wow.
real hard to please you this morning.
Thank you.
This portion of the Coffee and program brought to you by the Call newspaper. The Call and OneSocketCall.com offer our readers so much more than just the daily news. Our photographers capture moments in time that are both entertaining as well as newsworthy. We also provide a daily community calendar to keep you informed about times and places of local event happenings. And don't forget, local sports coverage by our award-winning sports staff writers. Join our over 50,000 readers in print and online. Home delivery is just a phone call away at 767-8522. Call 767-8522 today to subscribe to Woonsocket's daily hometown newspaper, The Call, and OneSocketCall.com, serving you, our readers, since 1892. Quality, compassion, community is Landmark Medical Center. But why choose Landmark? Here's why. You get the care you need without traveling far from home. Also, you'll receive heart care, wound healing, and preventative care and services. Plus, you get emergency care 24 hours a day, every day at Landmark Medical Center. Your community hospital is Landmark Medical Center, 115 Cass Avenue, Woonsocket. Visit landmarkmedical.org for more information. The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
It is Coffee In on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder and Dave Richards. Emily Hayning-Sheen could not be with us this week. So, Dave, do you want to fill in for Em and sing the Scott McGee number?
I am waiting for this. Yes.
Well, you guys have short memories because I was the one that started singing the phone number in the first place. Emily took over.
See, Dave can sing. We cannot.
Okay. I know that part.
The telephone number. What I lack in beauty, I add in rhythm. So.
You need a beat?
No, that's
All
okay.
right.
Thank you. Put the ghetto blaster down. I don't need the beat. No. This is the cell number. This is the one you get Scott McGee whenever you want to talk to him about anything. Except you could talk to him about politics if you want, but we're talking real estate here today. This is his day job, right? Right. 401-639-2906, and the other number is 639-2906.
There you go.
She does the 401.
Yes, she does.
I don't need the 401. 639-2906, 639-2906. 639-2906. Call Scott McGee today.
Should he keep his day job, Bob?
Well, I don't think Emily has a lot to worry about. It's good. It's good. But, Emily does have that little...
Lilt?
She's got a higher pitched voice,
Range.
yeah. But
All
I
right.
mean, it still gets the number across, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yes, it does.
639-2906. Okay, very good. Scott McGee.
So, Bob, we're going to keep it on the a little bit on the sports right here.
Oh, dear.
Because this is
That's
good.
fine.
This is a good story. Because I don't know if Bob has heard it yet. Yesterday we broadcast a couple of hockey games over at Mount St. Charles. It's the Mount St. Charles Face-Off Tournament, and they bring in teams from around the Northeast.
Right.
Well, one of the teams they brought in is from Buffalo, New York.
St.
wow.
Joseph's Collegiate.
Collegiate
They've
Preparatory
been coming
School.
to the tournament since the days when the Woonsocket Call ran that.
And we were lucky enough to be able to talk to the coach of the team
Right.
In between another game.
Right.
And of course, the first question was, how in the world did you get out of Buffalo? Well, it was touch and go there for a while. The players made it to the bus, and they waited on the bus because the New York Thruway was closed.
Right.
By the governor.
All but 5 of the players. Five
Well, we're going to
players.
get to that in a minute.
Okay.
He goes, when the New York Thruway was finally officially open, we took off as quickly as we could.
Right.
But he also told us 5 players, 5, could not make it to the bus because they couldn't get out of their driveway.
Wow.
They could just about barely get out of their homes. The snow, 6 feet high.
100 inches fell.
Yeah,
100 inches.
just could not make it out.
I remember back in the blizzard of '78, I thought that the city of Buffalo sent some of their plows down here to help us clear out. And I was wondering if any of the communities around here had sent any kind of equipment out to western New York to assist
Nah,
them.
we're a bunch
Probably
of
not.
ingrates,
We
really.
don't have the equipment they're looking for. I don't
That's
think.
right. And that's why they came, because they had equipment
They have
that
the,
we
they have
didn't
the real
have.
front end loaders. We've got plows on pickup trucks. That's not what they're looking for.
Okay.
But even then, they didn't have time. They didn't have enough to get these 5 players in surrounding towns of Buffalo for them to get out of their homes, get on a road, get to where the bus was.
Now, have they taken the kids back, or are they staying here until things get a little bit better out in Buffalo?
Well, they're still playing here, and they're in the
They're in the big game.
they're in the
They're
championship game
They
tonight.
played with 5 of their players not getting on the bus.
They're still in the
They
championship.
have won
game.
everything.
Yeah,
Wow.
And they're now going to play another team that has won every preliminary match.
yeah. So they
For
play
the
today at
championship.
4, and then when the game is over, 6:30, they'll shower, probably eat, and then hit the 8-hour bus ride to get back home.
Wow.
So
Hopefully it's only 8 hours.
Yeah, but it's a great story that they made it here in time to play, and that they're doing really well, even without 5 players not making it. It's
now-
astounding.
That's from a high school in Buffalo?
It's like a Mount St. Charles.
Oh,
it's
a
a private
private
high
school.
school
Okay.
out in
St.
Buffalo,
Joseph
New York.
Collegiate Academy.
Who's the team they're going to be playing against today?
It's called the Fairfield Co-op team. They're out of Connecticut,
Fairfield, Connecticut.
and they're a
this is
public school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two towns in
With
Connecticut.
a public school that didn't have
Going
enough
together.
players for its own team.
Yeah.
And is actually amalgamated a team out of their town and some other schools.
Pretty
It's,
impressive.
it's not uncommon, really. Actually, for football, Mount St. Charles and North Smithfield combined to make one team.
Mm-hmm.
They call it a co-op team.
Now, did
Mm-hmm.
Mount St. Charles must have taken part in the
They
tournament
did,
as
but
well?
they
do.
didn't
They're the
have their
hosts.
skates with them this year. They
Yeah.
didn't play well.
They,
Oh.
they played in the first game and lost.
And the second game and lost.
Each team is you're guaranteed 3 games, but they're all consolation games after you lose the first one. Until they break it down all the way down to the winner.
Right.
So there you go. So the teams were played on Tuesday, games were played on Wednesday, and the games are being played today. They'll probably start around noon.
2.
But the final game is at 4, and then that'll be it for the tournament. But it's great that this team from Buffalo made it down without 5 players. They only have now 15 on the team, actually 17. 2 of them are goalies, but only 15 keep playing on the ice. And they're just missing their some of their top guys.
Wow.
But they keep playing very well, very, very well. So that's the good side of the sports. I don't know, Dave, if you heard this story. This is the not good side of sports. This happened in Massachusetts yesterday, south of Boston, in Cohasset, where there was a basketball game between Cohasset High School and a team out of South Boston, Excel High School, I think is the name of it, where a player for Excel got a little rowdy, and he allegedly punched the referee in the face.
Wow.
Everything immediately stopped.
Penalty.
Not only penalty, game over. We're
Serious.
not even continuing. Excel, you forfeit. I don't even know what the score was at the time, but that's it. Game over. You guys lose. Nobody on Cohasset was involved in this in any way. Had to call the police in. I think it was arrested for assault.
Oh, my.
Wow. Now, you see frequently kids getting involved in fights among the players in hockey, but not usually hitting the referees.
No, there's usually a lot of talking, maybe even yelling
Yeah.
at the referees. And referees, they only take so much before they start handing out penalties. Unsportsmanlike conduct, you're out of the game kind of thing.
Right.
So I don't know what happened in
You
this
don't
game.
wise off to them.
No. I mean, you can be upset with them, but
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. But what happened at this basketball game that infuriated this player so much he felt he had to punch the ref in the face is pretty bad.
Yeah, well, tensions can run high, and young guys are still working on learning how to hold their tempers in a civil situation. Oh, we saw last night on one of the games we were watching last night, where there was one player who was he earned himself a penalty with his play against another player from the opposing team. And the referee came over, and, of course, at Mount St. Charles Brother Adelaide Arena, it's an open-air press box. You can hear what's going on down below you. And so, and I heard the referee was absolutely adamant because the player didn't think he did anything wrong, and he was just going back to the bench, and he said, 21, locker room.
Yeah. You get a game sometimes if you do something bad. You get a game misconduct.
He got a 5-minute game misconduct. So they were his teammates, the leftover teammates, didn't have him, and they also didn't have one other player, whereas they had to play shorthanded for 5 full minutes, which is an eternity in hockey.
Now, were
That's
they
the
playing
biggest
shorthanded?
penalty that they put out, as far as minutes is concerned, is 5 minutes.
Were they playing shorthanded because of the referee saying you couldn't substitute someone else for the one you've just sent to the locker room?
Well,
no, they
those are
didn't
the
have it
rules
on
of the
the team.
game. The rules of the game is you can't substitute somebody for the one that you lost.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
once you get the
you
5-minute
can't even
major,
sit
yeah.
down. Locker room.
Well, it's two different things. There's the 5-minute major for the penalty he got, and then separately you also get a game misconduct.
Right.
So you're out of the game. You can't even sit on the bench. You go to the locker room, go shower right now. You can't play the rest of the game. And there's questions about whether or not you can play in the in today's
This
game as
question,
well.
yeah.
Wow.
Will
all
that
depends
player
on the
be
rules.
eligible to play in the next game? That's a question.
All right. We did get a note that was called in 766-1240. Just says Kluber will sign with the Red Sox. This person thinks it's a good addition for the Red Sox staff. Well, he automatically almost becomes the ace of the staff if Chris Sale ever decides to come back and play for the Red Sox.
Now, who is Kluger? Is he
He's
from another team?
He's from another
or-
team. He last year he played for Tampa Bay.
Okay.
And he's, from what I remember, what he played last year, pretty decent. So this is a good addition. It's one of their only good additions they made so far to the Red Sox. But one pitcher isn't going to make up for everyone they've lost. And so, as others have said, not only the Red Sox came in last place last year, and they look at the other teams around the league, in their league, and each of their teams has gotten better, and the Red Sox have actually gotten worse.
When do they start spring training?
February,
Okay, so they got about 2 months to try and get.
sign more people.
Sent.
Oh yeah.
That's possible then.
It is, and maybe they got stuff in the works, and this is what happens when we on the outside keep complaining. You haven't done anything. Well, maybe they're working on stuff that they just don't tell you about. Possible, but we can only go with what's been offered out. We look at what other teams are doing, and then we look at what you guys are doing, and it looks like you're doing nothing to help to improve the team, and so that's why the fans get all disgruntled. It's like, what's
the
going
maximum
on?
number of players they can have on a team?
During the season?
Yeah.
I used to know this.
Is there a maximum
There is.
number?
Yeah, you can only have so many. 18?
Okay.
Marcel might know the answer to this. It expands, I know, after September, and it goes up to 20. Maybe it's 25 on a team. There's so many pitchers and then there's so many players, field players as
Right.
opposed to pitchers. So and it averages out. Usually, it's either 9 or 10 on each side, so about 20, and that's all you can have, and then it expands later on in the fall. Okay, maybe it goes up to 30.
Why does it expand? Because of injuries?
The minor leagues have stopped playing, and we want to get some of the younger guys can come up and that have done well in the minor leagues, but not well enough to be in the major leagues. And then there's teams that are not going to make the playoffs, so we bring the younger guys up and give them some major league experience and see how they do on the big field, under the big lights.
Good.
Got to get some experience. All right. We got to take a break right now, and it's time for a look at the forecast, which is being brought to you by Compassion International.
Sunny skies today with a high of 48 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear, overnight low of 32. Friday's weather sunny with a high of 53. Saturday, rain is likely, mainly after 5 p.m. Areas of fog, mostly cloudy skies, 54 for a high on the last day of the year. New Year's Eve, rain, areas of fog, low of 47. New Year's Day, rain is also likely, mainly before 9 a.m. Areas of fog persist. Otherwise, partly sunny skies in the late part of the first day of the new year with a high of 54. Monday, sunshine and 49. Tuesday, partly sunny and 53. And Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a high of 59.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies, we have a nice, it's warming up, 37 degrees. Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. Not everyone is good at visualizing.
If I go with a light floor, would a dark counter look good?
Others have a complete vision in mind.
I can see it perfectly in my head.
Everyone needs someone to trust. Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center prides themselves in personal service. When you work with one of their designers, you'll work with them one-on-one throughout the entire process. Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center in the McDonald's Plaza, Mendon Road, Cumberland, right off Route 295. Cumberland Kitchen and Bath Design Center, transforming a house into a home. Your home. Car accidents are the worst, but they do happen. And if it happens to you, then you need to get that vehicle to Cody's Auto Body of North Smithfield. Since 1969, Mike and the staff of Cody's Auto Body has been your collision repair specialist. And after the repair is done, Cody's will finish the job with expert auto painting to match the rest of your car. So if the worst happens, bring your car to Cody's Auto Body across the street from the North Smithfield Fire Station on St. Paul Street, North Smithfield. Hi, this is Joe Callahan, your maitre d' inside the Tiki Bar, heard Monday nights at 6 on ON Radio. It's 1 full hour of Jimmy Buffett music. The Tiki Bar is brought to you by Attorney Bob Lauder, the Carew Investment Group, Pepin Lumber, and Family Discount Furniture. It is Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan along with Dave Richards and Bob Lauder. Eb from the call could not make it in today. But, Bob, it's time for a first message from your law office, please.
Good morning. Thank you. This morning I'd like to discuss with you 2 recent decisions of the Rhode Island Supreme Court relating to real estate. The first case is that of Anton versus Howes, which was decided in July of 2022. In this case, a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Siegel, owned a single-family home in Newport. They decided to enlarge the structure to provide living quarters for Mr. Siegel's father. And when they did this, they created a lawful condominium with 2 units. One granted 65% of the interest in the condo association, and the other granted 33% of the interest. The father moved out of his condominium, and it was sold to Anton, who prior to the purchase of the unit demanded that the condominium agreement be amended to reflect a 50-50 equal division of the interest in the condominium, and the need for 51% vote to make amendments to the association. Approximately 8 years after Anton purchased the father's condominium unit, the Siegels sold their own condominium unit to Howes. Howes wanted to make improvements to his condominium unit. The building inspector for Newport advised Howes that he needed the written approval of Anton to make the improvements. And Howes, through his reading of the association documents, determined that he held a 67% share in the association. That was the percentage held by Siegels prior to the purchase of the unit by Anton. Howes began the construction, and Anton instituted litigation in the Superior Court to secure a restraining order against Howes. The case advanced through claims and counterclaims and allegations that the amendment to the bylaws of the condominium unit, which made which were made when Anton purchased the interest of Siegel, was invalid. The Supreme Court ruled, however, that Section 3436.1-2.17 of the General Laws, as amended, provides that any challenge to the validity of an amendment adopted by a condominium association must be brought within 1 year after the amendment is recorded. In this case, the amendment had been recorded approximately 8 years before House acquired the condominium unit, and therefore any challenge thereto was barred by the statute of limitations. The moral: if one is purchasing an interest in a condominium unit, it's prudent for the prospective purchaser to retain an attorney to review the condominium documents in advance of the signing of the purchase and sale agreement. If you'd like to discuss this or other legal matters with me, please contact my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice.
Now, Bob,
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question, Your Honor. And the example you just talked about there, it seems to me like that's a valid reason why someone might want to have an attorney review all the agreements, very much like you wouldn't consider purchasing a parcel of land without having an investigation of the title of the land, to see that no agreements that weren't presented to you before you bought it are binding on the land. That's basically what the land title does, right?
That's correct. But when Scott or most realtors present a purchase and sale agreement to a prospective buyer,
They present what they're given.
It usually includes a clause in there that says that the seller has to convey a clear title. And if there is something in the title that the buyer finds to be objectionable, then the buyer can back out of the deal.
Right.
And the title examination is usually made in advance of the closing, but after the buyer has signed the purchase and sale agreement.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit different. You don't usually have that kind of a
But it's
phrase.
the same concept. You want to be sure that when you're buying something, there aren't any hidden deals attached.
Yes. But in this case, I think that it would be wise, if you're going into the purchase of a condominium unit, to look at the condominium association records ahead of time, because that's not necessarily going to be a cloud on the title. That's going to be part of a normal process of a condominium association, and you want to just see what your shares are in it and things like that.
Very nice.
All right. Dave's got some Milk Fund money that has come in that he wants to tell us
Milk
about.
Fund housekeeping and stuff. We've had a good run so far, folks. We're a little shy of our total.
Of our goal.
Well, the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. That's bad English, isn't it? I didn't mean to say it that way. We're a little shy of our goal. We set a goal for $60,000 for ourselves this year.
Wow.
It has been a difficult year. We've had some successes. We've had a few losses. And we stand now at about just under $42,000 of a $60,000 goal. Now, everyone knows that in this century, it's not like it was back in the previous century where you stopped counting, everything was done, drop dead at New Year's Eve, midnight on New Year's Eve. There are, because of application periods and reviews and all kinds of hobnob that goes on with charitable giving these days that weren't in place back in the 20th century, that sums that are promised don't arrive until January. But we can tell you that from all the ones that we think we know are coming, it's not enough to make 60,000. So if someone has an idea of helping out the Milk Fund, we certainly would appreciate it. And we have evidence of a nice man who's doing just that. Here's one of the things that comes in a little bit later than Christmas Day. From the Battery Man, now in Bellingham at Piet Jewelers. Yes, the Battery Man, Roland Piet, has made his contribution once again. I was there the very first day on the December 1st to get my watch battery changed, and it just was precipitated by the fact that the watch band had lost a link or something and had just fallen off my wrist. I went in there. Of course, they fixed it right up, and they put a new battery in and everything else like that, because the Battery Man donates $1 to the Milk Fund for all the batteries that he puts in. and 180 were presented at Piet Jewelers at their new location in Bellingham, right there next to Dean Bank at Crooks Corner. And 180 watches got new batteries. Mine, I think, was one of the first. And then, so that's a cool thing that going on there. But Roland says, let's round it up to 200. Great job, WOON, from the Battery Man and the Elves. Rita, Ryan, Ross, Jen, Lisa, Judy, and my favorite little elf, Diane. Happy holidays from Roland Piet and the gang at Piet Jewelers. Prospering, I can tell you, having walked into the store, and they're doing a very nice job there at their new digs in Bellingham next to the Dean Bank. We do have some other housekeeping to do. Joe, you went around and picked up some people like the old ways, and some people like the new ways. Now, Estelle Turgeon has been out there taking care of our paper bottles. One of the problems we had is that we lost some volunteers along the way, and Estelle picked up, and she says, I'll bring the paper bottles out, and we'll find out how that's working out for her in just a little while. But Joe Callahan has, in the early portion of the season for Milk Fun, delivered some good old-fashioned plastic Milk Fun containers to different places around the area that preferred to have those. And we're delighted to say that the Beef Barn and Missy's, the Beef Barn, both locations, North Smithfield and Bellingham, and Piet Jewelers, and the Main Street Convenience Store on Main Street in Woonsocket, all combined for another $81.27 for the Milk Fund, just from those few little bottles. And that's very nice. We appreciate that. One last thing, Joe.
All right.
Before we get back to more death and destruction and the coffee and conversation, we have only, and this is another chance for me to say thank you so very, very much to the people who helped us with our project. The Milk Fund auction is not run by the Milk Fund, it's run by WOON Radio. It's our project, and we work very hard on it, in addition to trying to support everything else that happens at Milk Fund. But I'm telling you that we were rewarded with a great auction. We did more auctions than we ever did before. We did it full 25. Sometimes it was 20, 21, whatever. And I think some people might say, well, you're cheating, Dave. If you did more auctions and you raised more money, then did you really do better? Well, it was a lot of work, friends, and occasionally was a struggle. But I can tell you that, yes, we did raise over $13,000 for that. And the business of pick up and pay for our items has gone extremely well. I'm so proud of our bidders for coming and picking up and pay. There are still 5 left. And we have Chris F., who has some items here, a bidder by the name of DRL, a bidder by the name of Christine A., a bidder by the name of Tim D., and a bidder by the name of Debbie T. Please call the office, the Fabulous Denise, at 762-1240, the office number. Call the office and converse with the Fabulous Denise, and we'll try to make whatever arrangements are necessary to help you pick up and pay your items. We really need them out by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon so we can finish our accounting on this matter. And that's all my Milk Fund stuff. Who's making noise outside the studio today,
That
Joe?
would be the city of Woonsocket.
The city of Woonsocket is out there
outside.
making noise outside the studio.
Bob,
Sounds like they're scraping down the...
you're going nowhere. The parking lot is kind of blocked off at the moment.
Is it now?
It looks like they're bringing in asphalt.
Well, isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that nice? So that's what's going on outside the window. So hopefully that'll be done rather quickly.
I'm sure they won't be there long. They're
No.
very professional and efficient.
All right. So not only things bad with Southwest Airlines in terms of canceling their flights, the next thing is, for whatever reason, your luggage is going and you're not. So now
Yeah.
people have lost luggage.
And
Which I don't understand. If the flight's been canceled, why is your luggage going somewhere and you're not?
The new joke is 2 bags fly free,
That's-
but not necessarily you.
Yeah, that's right. That's what Southwest always says about how, 2 bags fly free all the time. Bob, any thoughts on how can your luggage go somewhere and you not go somewhere?
Thank you. I have no idea
I don't
whatsoever.
know how that's done. But that's what passengers are saying. Which is why when I try to fly, and I've been able to do this the last couple of times I fly, no more checked bags. Everything's a carry-on. And I was able to go to Disney World for 1 week with one checked bag.
Okay.
I don't know how I did it.
You must either have a lot of stuff in your carry-on, or
it was
you
packed.
dress very sparsely.
Well, it was warm. It was October, warm enough, but yeah, you got to plan it well in advance, and it was only 2 pair of shoes and one you're wearing, so you can't wear the same sneakers all the time.
Yeah.
You got to give them a break. So and then it's just. That's Dave's phone. And then it's, you look at shorts, and the basically is you don't spill anything on yourself. You got to try to keep things relatively clean, and just 2 pairs of shorts. That's it. That's all you wear. So,
Well, as you know,
but I was able to pull it off.
Gene and I just went on a cruise earlier in December, and one of the passengers on the cruise was complaining that his luggage had been lost. He was coming from Canada
By the airline or the cruise?
by the airline.
Okay.
And his medicine was in it.
Oh,
And I was thinking, he's
Medicine
not an experienced
always going.
traveler. You always take
Always
that
in the
with
carry-on.
your carry-on.
always.
Yeah.
But live and learn, I guess, right?
Unfortunately.
For this band, yeah.
Yeah.
Bob, it's time for your second message from your law office, and then we'll take a break here in the Coffee and program.
Thank
Which
you.
you can defer if you don't want the noise, by the way. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
They're just patching a pothole, Joe. I think
you-
it's very thoughtful of them.
Did you tell them to go down and keep it down?
No, because they'll be gone very shortly,
All
I'm
right.
sure.
There you go, Bob.
Thanks. Good morning. The second Rhode Island Supreme Court case I'd like to discuss with you this morning is that of Lafredo versus Shapiro, and that was decided in May of this year. The real estate which was the subject of the complaint is the kind that local agents probably dream about. The owners of the house had received an offer prior to the agent of Lafredo's bringing them to the home. Lafredo's made an offer of almost $1,500,000 to purchase. The offers of both parties were almost alike, and the agent for the owner suggested that both prospective purchasers submit a best and highest offer by 4 o'clock in the afternoon of the following day. At noon of the following day, the Lafredos increased their offer by $50,000 and agreed to waive the inspection contingency provisions. At approximately 5 p.m. on the same day, the other prospective purchasers submitted their best and highest offer. Thereafter, the realtor for the owner communicated to the realtor for the Lafredos the acceptance of the Lafredos' offer and requested that Lafredos sign the P&S by the following day. Thereafter, further dialogue ensued between the agents for the owner and each of the prospective buyers. And the fact that Lafredo's offer included a waiver was communicated to the realtor of the other prospective purchaser. The other prospective purchaser thereupon amended their offer, and the realtor contacted Lafredo's to inquire whether or not they would increase their offer by $100,000. Lafredo's chose not to increase their offer and filed litigation alleging that the verbal acceptance of their offer, which was by that time specified and more favorable than the other offer, constituted a binding contract. While it's not necessary that a contract for real estate be in writing, an oral contract for real estate of land will be, according to the Supreme Court, enforced only if the evidence of sufficient memorandum which sets forth who are the buyer and the seller, their prospective intentions to sell the property and to purchase, a description of the subject matter of the sale, the purchase price, and the terms of the payment. While the required notice of memorandum need not be comprised of a single document, the essential terms of the agreement can be referenced in that writing to another document and supplying more information. But the required note or memorandum must be in writing, and that it must be signed by the party to be charged. In this case, although it appeared that an agreement was made, it was not signed by the parties involved and did not comprise the protection of the statute of frauds. If you'd like to discuss this or other legal matters with me, please contact my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer, the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney excuse me, as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob. Very good. And more of the Coffee and program coming your way. And you can still call in comments or questions at 766-1240.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love. For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It's Coffee In on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Bob Lauder. We did get a note that was called in to specify on the whole baseball team. And a Major League Baseball team, Bob, can carry a 26-man roster. And that's it.
That's active duty.
26 men on the Boston Red Sox. Split that in half, 13 pitchers, 13 field players. Take the pitchers, 5 of them starting pitchers, the other rest are all relief pitchers. Okay?
Yep.
And then so now you have 13 field players, so 9 of them play. I mean, 8 of them can be in the field at one time, at least 5 utility players on the bench. Now, Major League Baseball teams basically have a 40-man roster, so the other the other 14 are all in the minor leagues, but they're considered on the Major League roster because they think they have the potential to make it to the Major League team.
Or maybe they came up and were sent back down after a relief stint or something.
Yeah.
And this came from Moose.
Yes, it did.
I'd never
That guy
quarrel with
amazes
Moose.
me. When I hear him on the program that follows us, Do You Remember?
Yeah.
And he comes up with these questions that are like, how can you think of these things? And he has the answer, and he stumps them like most of the time.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He's a baseball guy and a Beatles guy.
And music.
And music. Yeah, you're right. All right. So I'm going to bring up a story, and it's just one. Has this been going on all the time, or is this one of those deals where now that everyone carries around their cameras on their phones, you're hearing more about it? And the deal is like this: violence at the happiest place on earth has Disney park officials issuing a courtesy warning to guests. This comes after as the number of fights has increased. Disney Parks has also seen an increase in brawls, guests mistreating cast members, and even arrests since reopening after the pandemic. Now, Disneyland is following suit with what Disney World in Florida is doing, which posted an advisory in mid-December in response to recent guest behavior. Disneyland now has a new courtesy section on their website. So, has it been going on at all times, or are we just hearing about it more because everyone's got a video camera with them these days?
No, it hasn't been going on.
No?
There's always the odd chance that something might have gone on once or twice. They're extremely isolated situations.
Right.
No, this is corresponding to the general demeanor of the general
Human
public.
beings. Yeah.
Seriously, people are just less courteous these days to strangers than and there are so many more people, remember, who are the most important sentient being in the galaxy, and they've been taught this since they were little kids.
Don't you know who I am? I'm me.
And the rest of the world had better conform to whatever their whim is at the time. And
Or else out come the
if they're
fisticuffs.
feeling a little grouchy out there in Disneyland, then they just act out, and they feel they have every possible right for it. And go ahead, try to stop me, and then I'll own the place. I'll sue you. I know a lawyer. His name is Bob Larder. So
he knows what papers
I
to file.
can picture that. But you know, my family's a little older than yours, Joe. So we were down there, and because Denise's parents had moved down there, and so many of her relatives had moved down there to Florida, on the East Coast in the general vicinity of Daytona, way down in the late 80s. And Nicole was born in 83. By the time she could even really enjoy the place, we were down there visiting all the time. We would go at least once a year. Occasionally we go twice. We'd usually always drive because, you know, we're raising a family, and so you have to cut expenses. So we would do that. And, of course, she got a chance to see the place as it was growing. She was going there before there was an animal kingdom, before, just after Epcot, but before, what was the other one?
Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood
And
Studios, for
Animal
sure. That's
Kingdom.
one of the latest ones. Yeah, those are the two latest ones. But there was another one that was not quite soup yet when she was first going.
After Epcot?
Yeah.
Would have been the water parks, I guess.
Right. That's it. That's what I was thinking of, yeah. So so she really saw the place grow and expand with all of her different visits and things like that. So we spent a little more time than your average person until she got to be a teenager and it wasn't a big thrill anymore, and so we just stopped doing that. But there was a period of 10 years there where we saw immense growth down there. And it was a really nice, relaxing place because you didn't have to worry about people being jerks. Everybody was trying to be nice. They had their kids with them. They set a good example. If an adult was a little irritable, there were very few things said because they were always setting a good example for the kids that were around. And so everybody just behaved themselves. We don't see people putting the same effort into it nowadays.
Have you been there, Bob? Have you seen? Do you concur with Dave?
I haven't been to Disney World for many, many years. I think the last
Have you
time
been to
was,
Walmart?
I still try and find Kresge's and Woolworths.
Well, keep looking, Bob.
Yeah. No, I think the last time we went to Disney World was sometime when my daughter was still in Mount St. Charles.
Okay.
So it's been a number of years.
But you're right, Dave. And I've been to Disney World a few times, and I haven't run across any bad behavior. But then again, I avoid the areas where I think more unsurly behavior might occur.
No.
Because I waited for my kids to be older, we don't spend a lot of time in Fantasyland where a lot of the families are. Okay? A lot of the young families where tensions can run high when you're dealing with cranky children. So we stay away from that area. Also, and I've heard this from other people that have done this, people love to go down there and specifically stake out their place to watch a parade go by.
Yeah.
I'm not a parade guy. I'm not there to see their parades. If I happen to come across one in my travels, oh, this is nice. Okay, I'll stay and watch it. But people go down there specifically to see the parades. And I've had coworkers tell me that they come and they stake out their parade spot hours before it comes through. Then people come and stand in front of them when the parade actually starts.
Yeah.
And so I can see people getting upset when that happens. But I don't see that happen with my own eyes because I avoid those kind of situations. So
We solved it this way,
parades?
the parade.
How?
I believe it's the 20th anniversary celebration for for Disney World in Florida. And Nicole was there. She was just a little munchkin there. Was 3 or 4 years old. Easy solution. She was up on Dad's shoulders for the whole Main Street Electrical Parade. It was very, very nice.
All right, so that's what's going on at Disney. They're putting up they're warning you to be nice when you go there and behave yourself. So, Bob, we might have a lawsuit here for you to take over. Can you practice law in Oregon?
No, I can't.
No, all right.
Only two places I can practice law: Rhode Island and Virginia.
All right. Bend, Oregon police have arrested 2 people in connection with the burglary of a reptile store. This took place last month. Security video from the Reptile Zone store shows the suspects. They removed the window air conditioner. That's how they got inside. And then they stole 3 snakes.
Okay.
2 frogs, a turtle,
And a partridge.
Almost. The business tip jar and other merchandise, which included cages that these reptile stores sell. And these cages, these are not cheap. $3,000 for these cages.
$3,000.
Makes you wonder how they got it back out through the window. Yeah. And
Well,
they
You
arrested
stop and consider how good a cage has to be to
for
hold
a
a
whole reptile.
snake.
Yeah, it's got to be good.
And just your product liability insurance, if you're a manufacturer, is going to do it.
So the police arrested a 17-year-old and his 18-year-old girlfriend. Of course, he's a juvenile. She's the adult, so we get her name, Audrey Groom. She's charged with first-degree theft and second-degree burglary. He's going to be charged in juvenile court. So she's going to prison. He's going to get a slap on the wrist. He probably had to hold the snakes, though.
Oh, my goodness.
What's the matter?
Something very sour about that whole story there.
Yeah. Well, they didn't eat the snakes.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I mean, okay, fine. So they stole some snakes and stuff. But he was a juvenile.
Yeah, he's 17.
That's what really got me going.
Yeah. All right. So you won't be defending.
I
them, Bob,
won't
so
be
you're all-
defending the snake guys.
You're all set there. All right, we've come to the end of the program. Thank you very much for listening in. As always, Bob Lauder, thanks for coming in.
Thank you
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to all of you and our listeners as well.
Very good. And Em will be with us next week, so we wish Emma. She
We'll
wanted us
see
to
Em
wish
next
her.
year.
She wanted us to wish everyone a Happy New Year as well. So Happy New Year to Em as well. Dave, thanks for coming in as well. Thanks for joining us.
It's always a pleasure to be with my good friends.
All righty, this is Joe Callahan. Stay tuned for Do You Remember? Gary Smith and the crew coming your way at 9:30 on ON Radio. I said ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue